Okay, so welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Ceremony, and today I'm joined in the studio by the fabulous Jodie from Jodie Hurd Photography. Hey Jodie.
Hello.
So thank you so much for getting in touch about coming on the podcast, because I feel like this is a big topic, celebrants working with photographers. Now, obviously, a lot of what we talk about today is going to apply to weddings, because there's not many opportunities where at a funeral you'd have a photographer, but also you could apply a lot of what we're talking about to like naming ceremonies as well, or vow renewals, that kind of thing. But we will probably be focusing mainly on weddings today. So first of all, Jodie, just tell us a little bit about you. Tell us a little bit about your photography business.
I've photographed over 500 weddings now.
Wow. Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
I've been doing it a very long time.
Wow, so you're a beginner, yeah?
Yeah, total beginner. Shows how old I am. Mainly focus on natural kind of approach to photography. So getting the emotions of the day, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
That's
lovely. Which
my
obviously ties in really well with Celebrants, which we will come on to. So why photography? Where did it all start?
My dad was a photographer.
Really?
Yeah, he grew up being a photographer. His boss actually photographed and worked with the Beatles.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing.
So,
and is it mainly weddings that you do, or do you do all sorts of photography?
Mainly weddings.
Yeah.
I used to have a studio before I had kids, but now just mainly weddings.
Yeah, nice.
That's what I love.
And I guess flexibility a bit as well.
Yes,
Does
definitely.
that happen around the kids? Is it a little bit easier?
Yeah, a lot easier. Yeah.
I think that's the thing. A lot of people, we talk about it all the time, that people who go into Celebrancy are looking for a little bit more flexibility. And of course, as we all know, you work very hard when the kids are asleep or they're at school.
Yeah.
But it is really nice being able to have a career that kind of gives you that flexibility around the children too.
Yeah, definitely.
So what came first, photography or kids?
Photography.
Yeah. So you're doing it already and then decided actually it's time to have kids, and it worked well.
Yeah, I finished the studio and then decided to have the kids. I knew I couldn't do both, so I had to pick. But the kids came after. Photography's been there since I was a teenager, so definitely came first.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing. What is it about wedding photography in particular that you love?
People.
Yeah.
Always love photographing people. And weddings give you like so many emotions, and it's a roller coaster, so it gives me every kind of emotion to photograph. So, and they're just so happy. Everyone's happy.
Yeah, that's nice. And then I guess your style then, you've touched on it a little bit, but are you more that kind of natural documentary style?
Yeah. Very much blend into the background as much as possible. But then obviously when I'm needed, I'm there for groups and couple shots and things like that. But the rest of it, I always say to my couples, the more fun they have, the more relaxed they are, the photos will naturally reflect that anyway.
Yes, absolutely. And that is a great mantra to have. I like that. So I was going to ask you then about your experience of working with celebrants. So can you just talk to me a little bit about that, about how you might have worked with celebrants in the past, or how you might work together on a wedding day?
Yeah, they're becoming more popular, like slowly. I had one last week. I've actually got one this Saturday.
Amazing.
So they're getting more and more popular.
Yeah.
But I definitely love the approach they have. It's a lot different and way more fun.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And what would you say in terms of that rise in popularity? Why do you think that is?
I think people just want things a little bit different. A lot of couples don't look forward to the ceremony. If it's just a registrar-led, they're very nervous, and that kind of adds to it. Whereas if it's someone they know, they've been through, they know the format, and they know what's coming. And it just I think you get to learn more about the couples, and it's just a lot more interesting. So...
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, like you say, that rise recently is much more obvious. Like I trained in 2019, and I remember a lot of my kind of initial conversations with couples were explaining the differences between a celebrant and a registrar, and what are the,
a lot of
the
people still
perks.
don't know.
I know.
A lot of people I talk to, they don't know the difference, and I'm always explaining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you team celebrant?
I am.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
I do love the registrars in Somerset. They are absolutely lovely.
Yeah.
But I just feel, it adds something really different to the day.
Absolutely.
And it's the first part of the wedding. It's the very start of the day. So I feel like it sets the bar then for the rest of the day, rather than kind of, let's get the ceremony over and done with. That's the boring part.
Yeah.
It kind of sets that bar like straight away.
Yeah, it sets the vibe. That's good. And exactly like you say, there'll be a lot of registrars that work with the couple and do as much as they can.
Yeah.
But we understand as celebrants, there's just a complete difference in terms of, the number of weddings that they're going to be doing.
Yeah.
Registrars go and do multiple weddings in a day. Chances are we'll be doing, one.
Yeah.
Some celebrants might do 2 in a day, but most of the time we tend to just do that one. So we know that there's certain restrictions and things like that. So talk to me, I guess, then about the flexibility as a photographer. If you come to a wedding and you're working with a celebrant, like what are the kind of benefits of that?
I think a lot more celebrants are happy with photographer moving around. We're more comfortable with that. Whereas with a registrar-led ceremony, you feel a little bit more on edge as a photographer, that you've kind of got, it's the legal part, is a lot more pressure.
Yeah.
They don't like you moving at all, especially during the legal wording, which I get, but obviously with the celebrant-led ceremony, it's so much more relaxed. The whole feel is so much more relaxed.
Yeah.
So as a photographer, you can get multiple angles, move around a little bit more discreetly.
Yes,
definitely discreetly.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's nice that you can get those different angles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing for us as celebrants. I think once you've done a few ceremonies at least, and you kind of know a bit more what you're doing, you know how to work with the photographer as like a team to make sure that you are getting those best shots. So I guess for that aisle entrance, I will always make sure that I'm out the way so that you guys have got that flexibility and that you can make sure that you're getting the shot, because after the wedding itself, we're not going to be the ones that are going to be up on the wall. It's going to be those beautiful first kiss photos or that entrance or the first time they clock eyes and things like that. So I guess kind of understanding that relationship is really important.
Definitely. Yeah.
And what would you say are kind of the basics that you need to get from a celebrant on a wedding day? So would you need like a conversation before the ceremony? Would you need to catch up the week of? Like, what do you think we should be doing as celebrants to kind of make sure that we're working together with our photographers?
I think it's always good to connect before, just to touch base, especially if you've got like a list of everything, what's happening during the ceremony, just so that photography, you have to be one step ahead of everything that's happening. So that means moving into the correct position. So if you know what's coming next, you can be in the right position to capture that moment. So I think the communication is really important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even on the day, just if it can be a little bit frantic right before the ceremony. But even on the day, I will try and catch up and just quickly run through where they would like to stand for the majority of the ceremony, so that I can work around them. It's kind of like a little dance routine.
Yeah, that's it.
So you can work together, so you're in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, making sure that we're kind of putting them in that position. Because I think that's the thing as well. It's like during the ceremony, I quite like to make sure that the couple are moving a little bit. So I'll put them during their love story, I'll put them together to one side of the aisle so that they have that little moment. And I guess for you then as a photographer, you get moments of them actually stood next to each other in a bit more of a relaxed setting, a bit more of a bubble. And then we bring them back to the centre for the things like the vows and the ring exchange. And that's where we'll have that kind of triangular formation that's, I guess, that traditional wedding feel. So I guess talking to the photographer is so important, so that you're aware of where the positioning is going to be.
Or any other extra elements that you add in. It's good for us to again know, so that we're in the right place at the right time.
Absolutely. I remember there was one I did recently, and the couple had their dog who was going to come and she was the ring bearer, but she also was going to like seal the deal. So they put their two hands, and then the dog put her paw on top. But we practiced it, and they'd practiced it at home. And then in the moment, she wasn't going to do it. And then all of a sudden she did it, but super quick. And I said to the photographer afterwards, I was like, did you get it? And she was like, literally just. And I don't know if you have a setting where you could just like go as many times as you
press
can.
the button as fast as possible. Yes, definitely.
Exactly. But the fact that she got it, whereas actually it's like if she wasn't aware of that moment coming up, she might have missed it, and then they're not going to have that photo, even though it did happen for a split second. Whereas actually she managed to capture that moment, and I was so impressed. I was like, how you got that? Because it was lightning fast. But.
Because you could be round the back, you don't know what angle is necessarily going to happen. So like I said, you could have the backs of them, and you don't want that. You want that moment. So
absolutely. So what are kind of the things that when we are discussing with our couple that kind of movement during a ceremony, what are the things that we should consider to help them get the best possible photographs?
I think it's always, especially if you're taking them off to one side, if someone else is speaking, it's nice that they stand together.
Yes, lovely.
I always say to my couples during drinks reception, like, try and stay together. Imagine there's like a rope tied around you, and you work the kind of room together. It gives an opportunity for the photographer to get like natural shots of you two together. So definitely when someone else is talking, like a reading, it's nice for you to then position them in a place that we can get that decent angle, and the glances they have at each other, and they'll hold hands and stuff like that. You can get some lovely shots, especially if the readings are emotional, like the story you're telling. That's really important to capture. So
that's something we can consider them, making sure that they get those little moments together.
Yeah,
lovely. And then talk to me about this as a complete beginner, complete novice. How can we make sure that in our kind of creation of a ceremony that we're getting the lighting right? I know you are the professionals with that, but I was talking to a photographer yesterday, and we were talking about a different venue, and she was like, oh, the lighting there's awful. And I was like, oh, well, during our ceremony we moved to this bit. She was like, oh, that was good. Yeah, we got a bit more light. Is there any way that we can think about that as beginners, or should we just speak to you before the ceremony if possible?
I mean, you can try and be conscious of it. If it's a beautifully sunny day, it's actually best to have the sun behind the couple. Most important is definitely they're both either in sunlight or both in shade.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, not one or the other, because that's really hard
That's
to do the editing for.
Yeah.
And get the light balance back again. So
Yeah.
it's always, I always kind of try, like if we're outside, I'm like, can they be in shade?
Both be in the shade or both be in the sun.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
great.
that's always that's probably the main tip, I think.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
And I guess for me, like I say, when I get them to move one side of the aisle or the other, especially if we're outside, I'll look which one's shadiest and get them outside instead.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's a good tip. Because like I say, we are going to leave that to you as the experts with things like lighting. But actually, if we know that we're in charge of moving the couple during that ceremony and guiding them, or readers and things like that, if we can make sure that they haven't got a big window behind them or stuff like that, if possible, then obviously that's going to help you guys get those kind of better shots.
Yeah, in registrar-led ceremonies, I think it's difficult. They don't guide as much.
Yeah, of course.
So someone will come up to do a reading. The person doing the reading doesn't know where to stand.
Yeah.
The couple don't know where to stand.
Yeah.
And there's just this awkward like shuffle of everyone.
Yeah.
And as a photographer, obviously we go with it.
Yeah,
but
of
it's
course.
just nice like for you to be able to guide the couple through where to stand, and whoever's coming up to do a reading.
Yeah.
It's nice for you to give that guidance, whereas normally in a ceremony you don't get it. So
yeah, definitely. So if, for example, I'm just thinking about a ceremony I did a few weeks ago. It was at Kin House, and they basically had, like, if people don't know that venue, they've basically got glass windows all down one side, and then they've got a normal wall down the other that's got like plants on it. It's in their garden room.
Yeah.
So for example, if I've got the couple and a reader, and I'm going to put one side of the aisle, one the other, so one of them is going to have their back to the window. What's the preference? Do you always think it's better to have the couple with their back to the window, or do you think because you might get a lot of other shots of the couple, is it better to have the reader? Like, what do you think? What would you choose if we had to put somebody?
Oh, that's really hard without knowing the volume of
the
light.
actual setup. Yeah, of course. Oh my gosh.
But yeah, I would probably put them not in the sunlight.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tricky one without knowing.
It's so hard.
Yeah, it is tricky without knowing.
Because I think that's always the question we will get asked if they're having readings. They will always say, where shall I stand? And it's always something that we will talk through with them before the ceremony. So if we kind of know, okay, what's the photographer going to prefer? Them in the light. Or do we just put them in the middle, the readers? Do you like that? And then the couple to one side or not? I don't know.
I personally like it, the couple to one side and the reader slightly to one side.
Yeah, lovely.
Then I can shoot from behind the reader, so the couple are looking at the reader. Yeah. And then I can shoot just the couple, and then I can switch round, and if there's enough space I can get behind the couple and shoot the reader. So it kind of gives me that storytelling element.
Nice, lovely
in the
to see
photos.
both those reactions.
Yeah,
that's lovely. So I guess then something that I've learned from hearing this conversation, space is really key. So trying to give as much space as possible. Yeah. And that's always something as well that, you know, you learn as you go along, but actually for new celebrants, it's like they need to be aware of how much space they're leaving between the ceremony arch, themselves, and then the couple. Yeah. And also really trying to make sure that the couple stay as central as possible, because they drift, don't they? They move around a bit during the ceremony.
I do like everything symmetrical, and the top of the aisle I like it all symmetrical. So yeah, definitely the centre.
That's it. Yeah. So what are you, I mean, I, as a rule of thumb, when I go through with one partner, normally if I've got one partner waiting and the other one's going to be making an entrance, normally with that partner I'll be like, right, okay, let's have a quick run through of positioning, and I kind of put them in charge of it, because then whoever's walking down the aisle, they don't have to worry about it. And I kind of say arm's width from myself, so I'll kind of put myself in the middle of the arch, then I'll put an arm's width either side, like a bit of a triangle, and I'll get them to stand one either side. Do you think that's enough space, or are we trying to do a bit more?
I would say just do a bit more,
a bit further, a little
bit further, and
then we've got room then for the photographer to
come in at both sides. I think the other thing we struggle with as photographers is if the registrar, it happens a lot more with registrars, they tend to move and face the person obviously they're talking to.
Yes, of course.
And obviously when they move, we have to move,
yes,
and then they move.
True.
So there's a lot of movement going on.
Yeah.
But for us, it's a lot easier during those parts if you just stay still.
Okay, great. Good tip.
And we kind of will
you
work
move
around you.
Us.
Yeah,
great.
so that not everyone's kind of all over the place.
Yeah, perfect. And I think that's the other thing as well. Couples naturally, not all of them, but a lot of them will look at us when they're saying the vows, or when they're saying, if they're repeating after us, and they're ringing exchange, and we're like, look at each other, look at each other. Yeah. And I think that's the thing, exactly like you say. If we stay still, we're not distracting them by moving.
Yeah.
You can move around us, and then we can get the couple to make sure they're facing each other.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, that's good. I like that. Okay, we just need to go and do a ceremony together now, Jodie.
Yeah,
We'll just we'll make it perfect. So what do you think then in terms of how having a celebrant can impact your photographs? What do you think? Is there a difference?
Oh yes.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, massive.
Oh, I love this.
Yeah,
Okay, go on.
yeah, it's huge. I think just the element of being relaxed. Couples
Yeah.
are so much more relaxed. They know you, they've met with you, they know what's coming. But in terms of photos, the emotion side, I think they're so much more comfortable.
Yeah.
You can put so much more humour into it. Personal stories, and then obviously you can get the reactions of the couple, and if it includes any of the family or friends, you can get their reactions.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more interactive.
Yeah,
I feel like
nice.
rather than just the couple and everyone kind of looking at them. I think it's nice as well. You can tell more stories, and make it more personal, which means the couple have a little bit of a breather.
Yes.
And they can just sit back and enjoy the ceremony rather than all the attention being on them. So again, you can get nice shots of them just glancing at each other and just kind of taking a few minutes. And sometimes they stand there and they whisper to each other a little bit.
Yeah.
And you can get cute little moments there as well.
That's gorgeous.
But yeah, I definitely feel it's way more interactive. And the guests like getting some of their reactions. Otherwise, obviously, once the couple come in, the ceremony starts, you can get some beautiful reactions of everyone crying at that moment and cheering as they go out. But between that, there's not a lot.
No, there's not a lot for them to react to.
No, there isn't. So unless obviously the couple start crying or But yeah, laughter for me. I just love laughter.
Oh, it's lovely, and seeing that natural laughter, like you say, in that moment.
Yeah,
and I think as well for the couple, what I really love, exactly like you said, when they have that little moment together, is the couple seeing their guests enjoying the story.
Yes,
is so magic, isn't it? They can like laugh along with them, and it's always the bits that you expect when you write the script. You're like, oh, that's going to get a laugh. And when you hear it on the day and you know it does, because it's all the family and friends that know that couple so well, and they know that that's perfectly them. Yeah. And I think, like you say, having the photographer being able to capture those moments is fantastic. Yeah.
It brings them into the ceremony rather than just witnessing it. It makes it for everybody.
Definitely. Now, this is another question I've got for you then, because like I say, I do, for that love story part, I do like to put the couple together, one side or the other. I do also give them the opportunity, if they want to sit down for that bit. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that's nice. Again, I think for couples that are particularly nervous, it gives them that chance, just the attention's off them. Yeah. They relax more. And the more relaxed the couple are, that will reflect in their photos. Yeah. Like, my number one goal on weddings is always, the more relaxed you are, the more fun you have. The photos will reflect that. Yeah, absolutely. So for the ceremony in particular, emotions can run really high. Yeah. So I think by giving them just that, they're not on show then as well. Yeah. They're kind of sat down, they can have a moment, the attention's off them. So nice. I think either work really well. Yeah, so seated or standing, whatever suits that couple really. I mean, I do always give them the choice and they have the final say, but it's nice to hear it from a photographer's point of view. Yeah. And then in terms of, I guess, those symbolic elements that we might add in, so things like a unity candle where you're using a table or perhaps a hand tying, stuff like that. How do you think what things do we need to consider to get the best possible photos of those moments? I think just the communication that is going to happen, where it's going to happen, and what point of the ceremony is going to happen, so that again we're in the right place at the right time at the right angle to capture that. Yeah, absolutely. And I guess in terms of things like a candle, say for example you've got the couple and then a family member from each side and it's at a table, do you think it's best to have everyone all round one side, all facing the same way, so that you can then get in there and get those good photos? Yeah, I'd say if there's space for them to come like behind the table, facing everybody, so everybody else can see it as well. Yeah, of course, exactly. And then I'd crouch down on the floor and kind of get that angle of them lighting it. Yeah, amazing. So I guess really what celebrants need to think is actually, what does it look like to the guests? Because that's then how it's going to look to the photographer, and you can then get around and make sure that when you're planning these things, practice them and work out how it's going to look to people that are watching. Yeah, I guess it is a bit of a performance for you guys. Yeah, absolutely. And it is a show in that respect, that you need to work out where people are going to stand and how everyone's going to see it. Because like I said, it is for everybody. Yeah. And then my next thing I want to talk about is confetti. Oh, yes. So confetti, I always ask the question, are you having confetti? If so, when? Yeah. Now, some couples want to have it straight away at the end of the ceremony. I tend to find there maybe more the couples who don't want as much attention and are perhaps a little bit shy. They say, oh, we're just going to have it as we leave the ceremony. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that versus a set-up confetti shot afterwards? I feel from a photo op, it gives 2 photo opportunities.
Yeah.
So I do quite like just walking down the aisle.
Yeah.
And then the confetti.
Yes.
That's my personal preference.
Yeah.
But I think it is down to the couple. And like you said, I think more shy couples have it down the aisle.
Yeah.
Or couples that don't want guests kind of not manhandled, but
being shepherded, I guess,
they just
into
want
a
the day
certain
to
place.
flow naturally.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if they don't want, the photographer to go out and rearrange everyone, then down the aisle works a lot better. It's it's the natural process of the day. Everyone's already in that kind of line.
Yeah.
And normally I just ask guests on the end of the seats to kind of make the aisle a little bit longer.
Yes, that's it.
So that kind of moment's done. But
because I think that's the thing for me as a celebrant. I feel the same as you, where I like it to be done separately.
Yeah.
Because I just think at the end of the ceremony, so I tend to do the kiss first.
Yeah.
Have that as its own big moment.
Yeah.
Then I'll do some closing words.
Yeah.
If they want a symbolic certificate, we'll do one. But if they don't, it's just those closing words where they're back in the centre. I then get everyone to be upstanding, get the bouquet back if there is one, then get everyone to make some noise for the newlyweds, and that's when they leave.
You can't make noise if you're throwing confetti.
You can't make noise
you
if
can
you're throwing
like
confetti.
whoop and cheer a bit, but there's no
true.
clapping.
You
so
can't clap.
it's this mix. Oh, hang on, no one's cheering them as they
what
leave.
What do I do?
Yeah.
No one's cheering. And then also, exactly like you say, if you've got aisles and actually the rows, a lot of the people on the end can't reach.
So you've got to.
So they get bunched up. Then they have to move round.
So you're kind of moving people anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I did it on Saturday. And do you know what? I've done it a couple of times before where they've done it straight away. And the photographers wanted to create that tunnel, which I understand because it gets the best photos for the confetti. But it kind of felt like a bit of a delay at the end and a bit of a delay with the exit. Whereas on Saturday, the way we did it, I'd instructed the 2 bridesmaids who were giving the confetti out to do that during my closing words. So they
work
just
with you more. You're doing half
honestly.
of my jobs. Like I'm normally there. You need
like,
to do this for the confetti. So
yeah. But I spoke to a photographer beforehand and I was like, look, they want to do the confetti at the end. I know for you a tunnel's going to be better. So how can we get the tunnel to feel the most natural as they leave? Because that's what the couple want, really.
Yes.
If they're having confetti at the end.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
So I was like, right, get the bridesmaids to start giving the confetti out discreetly while I'm doing the closing words, because the closing words, people who aren't grabbing confetti can still listen.
Yeah.
So that's what we did. Then by the time I invited everyone to be upstanding, they all had confetti. We then did have to take a little pause while everyone lined up, but it was okay. It gave the couple a moment or two to breathe. Then once everyone was lined, I then did the announcement and off they went. And it worked well. So I think if they are going to do it, that's the best way to do it. Yeah. But I do think the best advice is do it separately.
Yeah,
I know, favourite.
I know. I feel like the cheering, you announce them as newlyweds.
Yeah.
If there's no cheering and music and it's just
no big moment.
Yeah.
If they're just throwing the confetti. You still get the music, but it's just like you say, it just doesn't have that same impact, does it?
And it gives them 2 opportunities to celebrate. And
there you go.
A lot of couples as well, they come down the aisle and then they go off and have just 5 minutes to themselves.
Yeah.
And in that time, I'm normally
getting everyone ready for the confetti.
And then they're announced back out.
Definitely.
So it gives the couple just those few moments. Otherwise, they'll have those few moments. Everybody else will kind of leave and go outside, and then they just kind of come outside.
Yeah, and that's it. There's no big introduction.
Yeah, they just kind of slide into their reception.
Like, oh, hi guys, here I am. Can I have a drink?
Yeah. Whereas with the confetti, it's like welcoming them back out.
It's really nice. And I think exactly like you say, it tends to be those couples that perhaps want it to flow more, but I actually think it flows better doing it separately.
Yeah.
And that's something I've learned to advise a little bit more. I really try and keep everything as couple's choice, but there's certain things I can't help it. I'm just like, do it this way, guys.
Yeah.
Better.
Yeah. Well, we do it every weekend. So we do have experience in what we're doing. We do know what we're doing.
You kind of get that confidence as time goes on. To go, well, I do kind of know what I'm doing, so please listen to me.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So what would you say then are any standout moments that you've had when working with celebrants? Are there anything that like sticks in your mind that you think, oh, that was a celebrant ceremony and I remember doing this and it was beautiful?
The shots.
Oh, yes. Talk to me about that. Brilliant.
Yeah, they had like a festival wedding at their house outside, and they had shots mid-ceremony.
Amazing.
And then as they came down the aisle, we had smoke bomb things going off and confetti, and
and
the flags in the background.
Oh
it was,
my God, that sounds
brilliant.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And the shots, what were the photos like of their faces post shots?
All right. I think clearly it's a regular for them.
Yeah, they're fine. They're used to it.
Yeah.
You're expecting these oh my God, tequila faces.
Yeah, but no, I think they were used to shots. It was just them. So and that's the luxury of doing, with a celebrant-led wedding, is you can do you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the main thing, really. That's what we're seeing so much more of. People are realizing realising their choices, whether it be with venue, like you say, they want to have a wedding more at home or in a, you know, a setting that's significant to them, whether it be the content of the ceremony, they're working with the celebrant to make it relevant. Like, I think actually people are just really putting their personality on wedding days now, aren't they? And it's really special to see.
After going around the drinks reception after, I can always hear people saying about the ceremony.
Yeah.
If it's celebrant-led.
Yeah.
Like, you know, or, you know, oh, that was amazing. Oh, it was so different. Oh, I love this bit. I love that bit.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, with registrars, it's just not the same.
No,
there's
not the
much.
same
There's
vibe.
not much talk after the ceremony about the ceremony.
Yeah,
it's almost just like, oh, the formalities have done.
Yeah, let's
now we can carry
the
on.
Drinks.
Yeah, yeah. Whereas, it's. I think celebrants are the way forward. I think it's going to take off soon.
So lovely to hear you say that.
Yeah.
And like I say, I haven't paid you to say that. You've just come on as a guest to say that. But no, it's so true. And I think really it is just about that flexibility and just really putting their stamp on it, because I think couples spend so much time thinking about how is this day going to reflect them in the favours, in the table plan, in the flowers, in you know, all those other little moments.
Let's name our table after where we've been on holiday, but the ceremony doesn't have that substance to it. So
actually having that, like you say, it kind of sets that vibe in the beginning. Would you say then, what's your number one like best thing about working with celebrants, and what's something that you think we need to work on a little bit?
I think the best thing is the reactions you get. Like, that's just for me, that's what I'm all about. I want those reactions. Like, speeches are always my favorite part of the day.
I love speeches.
And it's where you learn so much. I learn so much more about the couple, but it's you get more of that in the ceremony. So I definitely feel that's the bit I love, the reactions.
And then what about something that you think we could do better, or something that you've worked with celebrants on and you're like, okay, you know, not everyone does this, or we can work on this? Is there anything that stands out?
Not massively.
No, okay, that's good. Okay, she's a happy customer. I
am. I'm team celebrant. Like, definitely.
This is good. Okay, Jodie, we'll get you back. You're a good ambassador. So finally then, I guess let's wrap up today with the question that I always ask all of my guests. What's your one piece of advice to anyone that's listening to this and they're thinking, do you know what? I think being a celebrant's a career for me.
Do it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah, why not?
Life's too short. Like, you know, if you're not in a job you're not happy about and you're not sure, just go for it. Like, I listened to your first episode and you said how you were doing it alongside your radio presenting job to start with.
That's it.
I feel like it's something that you could do to start with. You know, get your confidence up, kind of see if it's definitely for you.
Absolutely.
But, I think if you love being around people and chatting and have that confidence to stand up in front of people, then why not? Do it.
Amazing. Well, brilliant words from you there, Jodie. And thank you so much for coming on. And fingers crossed, let's manifest we get to do a wedding together very soon.
That'd be lovely.
All right.
Thank you.